how these randoms keep getting jobs. Don't worry about it. I'm going to say, I can't wait to sing it. I love it. I love it. Go.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NotBland Show. And we are back on Twitter. Yes, I'm calling it Twitter. It's the artist formerly known as Twitter. You can call it X if you want. Still Twitter to me. And we're back live, and I want to welcome everybody who is watching us there. You already know the deal. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to have one of the crew chiefs of the Sean Reed winning Pro Superstar Shootout dragster. And we're going to talk about their offseason. We're going to talk to them about the Pro Superstar Shootout, what they may have been working on, and what they look forward to Gainesville. Mr. Ryan Elliott, you know, I said his name last week about him being crew chief material. Definitely would hire him to do mine if I was in need of a crew chief. So again, this show is brought to you by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It is almost here. Almost here. We are almost back to picking brackets, winning free prizes, and we will have the code to sign up for the NotBland Show League going across the ticker right after this commercial break.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Well, it's pretty easy, ladies and gentlemen, so go ahead, do that. The code will be across the ticker, and right now we're going to bring in my favorite guy, Mr. Ryan Elliott. What's going on, baby? How's it going?
Wow. Well, I'm getting ready to write some checks for all the niceness you're spilling out already. Dude, that intro is awesome. It's got me hyped up for football. We got to talk at least 5 minutes about football today, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, yes,
Colts,
I'm in.
Where do they go, bro?
You know what? I tell you what, before we get to the Colts, Elon, I watched the show the other day, and Elon says, oh, you know, they're like the Cincinnati Bengals. That hurt my soul in so many ways. And I sent it to one of my friends, Bill Riley, who has season tickets. See, I was a Bengals fan when I lived in Ohio. And like, it was a very toxic relationship. There was therapy involved. Everything bad could be involved in that. It was horrible. And when I moved to Indy, I was like, you know what? It's time for a break. And Bill he's like, hey, Bengals, Browns, come over. He's trying to get me back. And I sent him that, and he goes, come back home, sweetheart. Come back home. And I just can't do it. I met Mike Brown, and I talked to him at a cigar event, and we're talking, and he's talking about, you know, the success of the Bengals and all this stuff. I was like, well, what's your plan? And we kept going on and on and on. And he kept asking, like, are you a season ticket holder? How many jerseys do you like buy a year? And I'm like, this fool is a millionaire asking about how many jerseys. He just wants my money. I felt so taken advantage of. So when I moved to Indy, I'm like, I'm done with it. I don't care if the Colts go 0-16. I'm going to be a Colts fan. I'm over it. And that was many years ago. But yeah, Bill Riley still tries to get me to come on over. And it's fun, but I can't do it. Just can't go back to her. We're done.
It's hard.
Time to move on.
Yeah,
so that hurt my soul. I don't think Elon realized what a bazooka he shot at me from wherever he was. I was like, oh my God, you could not have picked that any worse for me.
Right.
But for the Colts, yeah, it's overhaul. You know what? And it's an interesting situation because I think that's more of a cultural building thing more than anything. Like you start seeing some of the stories come out, and Pat McAfee kind of like going, yeah, I'm not a part of this. These fools need some help. Like that's your golden boy. That's your golden goose.
Yeah, he is.
If you made him mad, you better start. Everyone's got to go. You're out. You're out. Like the Zaire Franklin thing where he's doing high fives and the sweep was gone. I was like, you fool. It's done. It's over. You're not going to win these people back because all we got is Pat McAfee. that's it about it right now. We got a statue of Peyton and Pat McAfee. That's it.
About right there with the Cowboys, irrelevant right about now.
Ooh, that's rough. Yeah,
it's sad. And it starts at ownership, and I've said it many times before. The way to get this thing righted and the way to change all of this is that the fans just need to stop showing up and stop buying gear. Washington did it, and look what happened. Because the league looked at it and was like, "This is not good."
1,000%. Nope.
Right. You start hurting the league's pockets, you start hurting the owners' pockets, they start noticing. And they're like, you know what? We got to do something about this.
We're going to do something. Yeah, it's like bringing back, the same thing over and over. It's like recycling or regurgitating from a cow. Like sooner or later you go like, yeah, we can't eat the same stuff and be healthy and happy about it. It's time to clean house.
It is. It really is.
Where's Bill Polian? We need that dude back.
I'm telling you, he actually did an excellent job when he was there, and they just need an adult in the room. They need an adult in the room that can direct traffic, and you see what it happens. I had covering the Commanders as long as I have been, and also growing up there, being a fan of that team. Everybody in the last 20 years have been talking about why not us? Why can't we have the 1 year turnarounds?
Right.
And you see all these other teams turning around in a year. And you see what competence at the ownership position can do, along with hiring the right staff, hiring the right GM. It can do wonders. That team had 33 new players on it, and they were in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and I tell you this, and this translates into drag racing just about every offseason. It really does. Is that cultural building? Like you got to have good people. Everyone knows how at that level, they know how to throw a football. They know how to catch a football, but they don't know sometimes how to not be about me. And it's a cultural building. And it's the same thing that we deal with drag racing. Like you got to hire people that buy into what, your vision of that team is. And something you can have the best team in the world. I remember the old Dick LaHaye, Larry Dixon days. And man, my days at Coletta's. And it was like, we were so bought in for this vision and this fight that it was a good team. And I won't reveal any sources, but the Dixon guys, even though they were winning championships, they were fighting all the time. And I've heard that a lot about like a lot of the teams, they just don't get along, but you can have success for a couple of years, but get that longevity. Like, I don't want to be good for a day. I want to be good for a year or 5 years, or get that longevity. Those Jimmy Proc teams are good because they have synergy and, they've built a culture around there, and hey, buy in or get out. And that's goes for the Army teams, a lot of those successful teams. There really is cultural building. And that's one of the the things you don't really see from the outside when these crew chiefs and GMs are building these teams. Like you can have all the talented people in the world, but if they're not creating a symphony in between rounds and having this cohesiveness, it doesn't really work usually.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I think you see it with
just so much stuff.
Yep. And I think you see it in drag racing too, with you can get by with having infighting for a while, but that's not sustainability.
Sooner or later.
When things get tough, it implodes. And everybody's pointing fingers, everybody, it kills everything. So
1,000%. It is you got to be that glue that holds everyone together. There's a friend of mine that used to say that about some people, and I always appreciated that about him. And it's like, got to be that glue to hold it together. And I was like, yeah, that's legit. It's true.
For sure. And you guys did an excellent job, especially at the end of the season. I was looking at some stats courtesy of DragRaceReference.com, and although you were only 4-5 as a team in the 9 rounds of the countdown eliminations, you guys went against countdown drivers 7 times. 7 rounds. That's tough. That's the best of the best week after week. And you had, your average qualifying position was 7th, only 1 DNQ in that time. It really showed that the team started to accelerate in the right direction. And then you come out here at the Pro Superstar Shootout, and I mean, just like I said about Josh Hart, the repeatability and the consistency once again showed up from last year in the most critical time to get extra money. It happened right there at the Pro Superstar Shootout.
Yeah, and honestly, we weren't really, I mean, at least maybe I wasn't really thinking about the money at that when we went down there or even winning the race. We built a new car and we just wanted to make sure it went down the track and everything was right. Hey, kudos to, Wendland and Ed Tyler and Sean Robinson, David Peterson, all the guys on the team. Like they put together a car, and the first lap it went down there, and we shut off early, but we thought we were like low 70s. And all through testing, we were mid to low 70s, except for one run and self-induced. We were trying to get pretty greedy. And, that was the right thing to do because that paid kudos to race day. But I mean, it was mid to low 70s almost every run, except for Q1 of the pro race had an issue. Thought we had it solved in the pits, went up there, still had an issue. And it was like, well, let's do the right thing. And it paid off. And then, when we went into race day, I was like, I feel pretty decent about this car. Like, and, Wendland had kind of a star in his eye, and it's like, we were setting this brand new car up kind of off runs that we had last year. Like, man, one run, he went back to Dallas, like Dallas run. Wow. I'm like, Dallas run. I'm like, in my book, I'm like, geez, dude, like that's totally different clutch disc. That's totally different, like lifestyle. Like, I don't even remember what I was doing in Dallas. And the notes came out, and it's like, hey, let's do this. And I'm like, heck yeah, let's try that. It repeated out to what we were thinking. And I was like, oh, we got something here. And that was one of the things that we really worked on last year, other than a one mishap, I would say, just parts and whatnot, was, hey, we got a great group of guys. It's changed a little bit, still a great group of guys. And that's so important that, the recipe is the same. Like, this is how we do it. This is why we do it. And the recipe still produces that 74 or that 75. And listen, that may change by the time we get to Gainesville. I've been around long enough, and I'm old enough. These grays don't lie. Things change, and not necessarily, in the best way sometimes. But I can say for that week, it was very much back to that. Well, that worked. Let's do that. And I hate losing. Don't get me wrong. And I am probably one of the more even keel people. And I've had to work really hard at that. I was horrible at that when I first started 25 years ago. Horrible. I was emotional, like up, down, like angry. I'm pretty even keel. And I hate losing, but I feel if you lose, but you felt like I can put my head down at night and go, that was the right decision. It just didn't produce the result we wanted. Type of racing, that's what I'm in for 1,000%. Like, and that's what we kind of did last half of the year and early too. It's just, we didn't have enough data to kind of like support it. So it was kind of like we were learning. But yeah, the Pro Shootout, that was, man, that Dallas, he probably doesn't even know he did that. He's like, well, Dallas, we did this. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like moving over there. You need like a Rolodex for them old people, we're like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
God, I didn't even know my book went back that far.
Before
I can't remember what I did last week.
I know, right? before we get to this question, what exactly were you guys working on and looking to do there in Bradenton to kind of get your feet wet and kind of see what this car can do and give you a little bit of prep for coming into the Gator Nationals?
Make sure the car actually started. Honestly, I mean, it's a brand new car, so I mean,
Nice.
there's so many things that can go bad or wrong. A wire that's crisscrossed. It's so easy to do. Like, we're all human. It's perfect. Only in your dreams. It never happens that way. And as good as it may look, there was a lot of things that were like, oh, all right, figure that out. We're triaging problems every second of every day. And even today, like, it's still triaging, parts and pieces on the car. And gee, many Christmas, I'm working on DOT stuff, like trying to triage that. And so it was basically, we got a brand new car, brand new chassis, everything's new. Let's try to get this thing to go down the track and, I don't know, start. And we got a couple new guys. Let's get them, jiving and stuff. So our main goal was to go there, start the car, get down the track, and see if we're in the same time zone as last year. And for that weekend, we were. When we go to Gainesville, I'd love to tell you that we'll be close. I feel like we will, but hey, this thing will throw you some curveballs real quick.
But Blake asked, what are you looking forward to the most in 2025 NHRA season?
Growing as a team. Just seeing all the hard work. That first year, I feel like you're right. I went to PBR last weekend. It was so much fun. And it feels like you're on a bull and you're never ahead of the bull. You're just holding on for dear life. That's what all last season kind of felt like, at least to me. Trying to catch up and get data and learn and trying to get closer to where you want to be in racing. And the thing I want to grow as a team, got a great group of guys and build off of last year. I'm excited for that. I am very excited to go back to Reading, Pennsylvania. That hurt. It stung. This drag racing thing is a marathon. It is not just one race. It is not just one round. I've lost championships off just one round. That sucks. But I can tell you, it's a long marathon. And when you get punched in the face and had a bad weekend, you can either go, man, I don't want to go back, or I cannot wait to get back. I want to go back to Reading, Pennsylvania so bad.
Yeah. That get back and get right the wrong is huge.
Right the wrong. Yeah.
So we had a lot of talk about these mud flaps, and I personally have never really seen too many cars run without them, especially once they started coming about. Does it really make a difference? Is there really any advantage to having them or not having them?
That's a great question, and kudos to Drag Racing Mayhem for seeing that. That's a pretty easy thing to kind of overlook. So we were going in the finals. We saw Justin Ashley and Langdon run the no mud flap thing. We went into the finals and the prep was good. And it was mostly about just trying to, reduce drag and save the rear tires because they were chunking, which, I don't necessarily think we have a tire issue. I think we have we're going too fast issue, perhaps track prep, whatever, which way you got to figure it out. So the mud flap thing came about, and Brian Hewson came in, and we had a little bit of a thrash, and I was coming back into the trailer, and Hewson's there. I'm like, hey, Brian, what's going on? And he's talking to everyone. And he said, I went over to Josh Hart, which Jason McCulloch's over there, and, said, hey, track prep's good. Would you guys be open to running the no mud flap thing just to help on, saving the tires, making sure they're not chunking? And chunking basically is, where the chunks of the tire come out. So it's a safety thing, but it was also like a drag thing. So technically, if there's less drag, you should run faster from my funny car days. So I believe, and I might misquote, but I think it was 1,000 to 1,500 pounds of drag versus downforce. So kind of worked on, well, maybe if we offset with the wing. Honestly, it was a test. It was a little bit of a test session between us and Hart, just trying to see if it helps for the greater good of the sport. Like, if we ran 365 and didn't chunk the tires and everything looked great, then, maybe that's something going into next season. Is there merit there? Is it the right thing to do? Jury's still out. There's still things that I've had holes that we've had holes in mud flaps from pieces coming off the track from the front tires that get in the rear tire. That'd be bad. I mean, there's so many opposing forces, and it's good because it opens up the discussion, whether it's the right thing to do or just something to do. Maybe that opens up, hey, we can go below that -2 on the rear wing, but run mud flaps. Okay, well, that's something. So, I mean, there's something there, maybe safety-wise, a little scary, maybe. I don't know. It's a great conversation, and it opens up a conversation. That's the important thing. Open up those conversations and those things to talk about.
Absolutely. And I think really what the solution is what has been done as far as trying to see what we can do to reduce the chunking issue, because that's definitely an issue. If the tire's chunking, all it takes is for some little speck on the track to hit that, and boom, it's gone. Especially as tall as they are at the most, peak of the performance. Anything could happen. So, especially with the speed, the horsepower that's being made, it doesn't take much to grenade a tire. So,
there's so many things. I mean, that's a rubber band on a rim. I mean, like, the fact those things hold on is unbelievable to me. Goodyear bust their tail trying to make sure those are acceptable, good, and all those things. And the fact that they do what they can with 340 miles an hour now, like, we're reaching up on that 350 you got above your shoulder. Like, that's insane. That's stupid insane. So maybe it's less downforce or less track prep at the top end. There's so many things. It's a work in progress, just like life.
Now, how much? This is a good one here by Sean. He's talking about the arching of the car, and with the more power of today, are you concerned about the new stress on the chassis without the downforce at this point? I guess that's talking about the removal of mud flaps
and all that stuff. I would honestly, if there's less stress less downforce on the back, I think it takes away from that arch. Obviously, you look at the front wing too, because you're basically arching that there of that front wing. If you wanted to take a little bit of front wing out of there, I don't know. That's above my head. We basically build a bridge. And when I was in engineering, we used to build bridges and all the stress and all that stuff. But you can't. There's no mathematical or engineering way to really say this is what those chassis go through, because nothing equates. We put them through a straight up abuse level that no one's ever seen.
Yeah.
I would think, and no scientist at this, no Einstein going here, but I would think less drag and downforce would actually be a little bit easier on the chassis because you're not working it as hard.
Right.
Whether that's right or wrong, hey, we can put it up. We can put it on a flashcard and see if someone picks in on that or not. But
right. Yeah. It is.
I remember, and we were telling stories when I started at Coletta's. I remember the wing being at like 5 and 6, and we had this McKinney car that you would run, a whole year, and it would be going through the burnout and the burnout box, and it's so flexy because it's so old. It's going dink dink in the center of this thing, going down and hitting the track, and it's just like, is that okay?
Like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some cars have a little sag too, and that doesn't seem like that would be the best thing.
Yeah, and I've seen
way too much flex.
DSRs like high, like when they're at their prime, it was 30 runs, and Todd Okahara and those guys are front half in cars and stuff. And I'm like, one, amazing that you can front half a car mid-season and just go out there and run it. And hey, yeah, kudos to Morgan Lucas and McKinney and how far things have come, and PBRC and Joe and all those guys, that you can front half and build one of these cars and go run it. We used to have to test for a week trying to get a car that was like, okay, I think we can go run it now. Like that, our car went like as straight as I've ever seen it, straight down the track the first lap. And I'm going like, that's insane. And I've seen it over and over, and it still blows my mind that you have, 2 or 3 guys welding a car up and down this thing, this jigsaw puzzle, and it's close enough to where like it's repeatable and it goes down the track. Like that was not how I started in drag racing at all.
Yeah, it's crazy how they build these things now, how precise they are. I know we had a presser with Antron yesterday, and I asked him about the damage to his car, the new one, and what they had to do, and would it change? And he's like, well, we had to front half it. And he said, since we were front halfing it, we just decided to front and back half it, and it's basically a brand new car. So I'm like, well then, that no deal. Effect at all, huh?
Yeah, like model car, you just go click, 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 and you're good. I'm like, it blows my mind, and that's 20 years of it. When I went to DSR, it was like watching them build the cars and stuff and off the jigs. I'm like, wow, this is insane that you can do that. There used to be, crazy enough, there used to be a Hadman car. I think Cowan ran it. Now I'm really, those gray hairs are really coming out now. But they used to have a bolt in back half. And I was like, whoa, that's a thing of the future. Like that would work, because you could kind of build it off the jigs and then just bolt it in and go. And these fools are doing that now with their welding rod. That blows my mind. Kudos to them. They're way more talented to me. I'll stick to paperwork.
Skills. The
could not do it.
Skill in all that.
Yeah. You got to recognize. Insane. Stand up.
Man, I tell you, watching Sean, the maturation process with him, especially this past with the Pro Superstar Shootout, the confidence level is he's starting to find his groove. The guy's been doing it. I mean, he's been racing boats for forever. It's not like he's not an accomplished driver, but you can tell that he's got his groove. And with this win, he's going into Gainesville with a hell of a lot of confidence.
Oh, look at every sports team. When you get a little bit of confidence in that quarterback, or good Lord, look at Steph Curry in the Olympics. He's bombing them in over 4 people. The dude on the bench is going, yeah, shoot it. It's like, there's 4 people open. Now, Steph from the logo, like, get up. And it's going in. And it's like, I think Steve Kerr was the coach. Yeah, Steve Kerr was the coach. He's like, business as usual. It's just when you get that confidence in that, Caleb Cox, you son of a gun. Sorry, I just saw that one come in. When you get that confidence going with skill level, and obviously Sean has that. He's very skilled. I mean, anybody that drive a boat at that speed, I hit 60 and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, anybody want a tube? No? Okay. Well, we're going to take that back down. So I can't imagine what that is. But with his skill level, a little bit of confidence in that, and hey, that goes to the guys too. When Winland's tuning the knobs and all that stuff, and you get that confidence and get that little zest in your eye, it's a lot easier to make hard decisions when you're going, I got this. It really is. When you start second and third and fifth and 20th guessing at 3:00 in the morning, you're probably not the greatest at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. at the racetrack. I've been there. You're not. Yeah, you're just trying to get through the day. You're surviving.
Yeah, that's bad. That's all bad.
It happens.
Who they drafted round 1 though?
Drafted new GM.
I like that. Do you have any confidence in Richardson?
I have confidence that he'll go to the bench when he's needed.
This is what my thing is. Not to get off track, ladies and gentlemen, but
no, we're definitely on track. This
is my thing here with him. I said it from the beginning. The guy was a raw talent. If you could maximize what he does well, and let him grow through the process, he might actually be something. But they've asked him to do way too much too soon that he's not ready for, and doesn't help that you don't have weapons. So that doesn't help anybody.
You know what though? Mentality. He doesn't. Me personally, I don't think he has mentality. Is like, one, he didn't play a ton at Florida, and man, it's just like Tyson always says, and it's amazing. He's like, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. Well, that's true. When you get punched in the face and how you react is who you are as a person. And hey, listen, when life, he's got some zingers, Caleb.
Right.
When life's tough, like, you get knocked down, are you going to get up, or are you just going to do this and go off to the bench? Like, listen, my daughter plays softball. My other daughter played soccer, and I've seen them battle through injuries. I've seen them be totally exhausted. I've seen them like almost throwing up. I've seen my daughter, God bless her little soul. She was the last out in a championship game, struck out, and you just saw her. She sat there and cried. Well, the next championship game in a tournament, 2 outs, 1 strike, and I'm like, oh God, please no, anything but this. And she hit a double and won the game. Like it's mentality, and you got to get it together. You get paid a lot of money to be tough.
Heck yeah, darn right. Sean said, he says, I remember watching Reed, I think, break a motor mounted at Vegas 17, my old stateside trip to date so far. The same race Wendland tuned Terry to his first win.
Wow.
That was cool.
What a coincidence that is. Where's he from? Is that Bowie? Bow?
Yeah, Bow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Where are you from, bro?
Sweden. Oh, I see a Sweden.
And there it is. Yep,
yeah.
The flag.
Okay. There, that's cool. That's a crazy little factoid because I didn't know that. And that is true.
I bet one for me too.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, full circle moment.
You're right, Caleb. They don't tap out the game.
No, they just cry. They either cry or they just keep going. It's awesome. I've never been so proud in my entire life. And Lily, I've seen her get tumbled over, and I like photography, and I'm taking pictures, and I got this sequence of poor Lily getting like tumbled over like 10 times, like, and as me as a dad, that probably wasn't the best moment. I just kept taking the picture, so I have a sequence of this train wreck going on, and I'm like, and then you put it down like, is she okay? And Kristen was like, I think so. And, she got back up, and I was like, both moments, both those girls, man, they're resilient. And it's good because that's life. Like, we get punched in the face all the time. We have bad days. Get up, keep going, keep pushing.
Yep. He's from
London, England.
Yeah.
English. I'm sorry. Wow, I'm an idiot. That's why I am a drag racer. My bad.
Yep, that's why I don't do geography.
No. I shouldn't have even called that out. I just got excited. I thought it was Sweden. Sorry about that, dude.
Are you guys testing at Gainesville?
Yeah, we're going to test, make a couple laps right before the race. Just because it's so we got to be we budget accordingly, and when you can test right before a race, I think that helps. And Sean and Rob were both kind of like, make a couple passes, just make sure the track prep is closer to what we see at a national event. Don't know what's going on with my hair there. Got that. And just make sure we're good. And so it makes sense. It's a day early or whatever, and just do it. And Antron's going to test some things, and yeah, why not?
How's that relationship between you guys and Antron Brown?
Good. It's not. It's. I've been on a couple situations where it's like, hey, you got to run it like this, and this. Like, God bless Ron Tobler. That son of a gun had here's my funny car tune-up. This is what you do, and goes whoop, and it'd run mid 90s and be this fantastic thing and unbelievable, and which is good. And then you could kind of morph it into what you like. This thing has been very much like, hey, what do you see here? What do you see there? And we're close on some of the calls and stuff for sure. And it's just nice to have a second set of eyes to look at things. I'd say it definitely paid dividends on both sides of the field last year for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. He seems like one hell of a guy. And
he is. Oh, he is. He's fiery. I love that guy. He's and man, karate. I've always been a big fan of karate. Mark Oswald, that was awesome. Brad Mason, all those. Chris Watts. I feel like I kind of grew up around those guys drag racing to a certain extent. So I'm very much. I don't care if I've been in here for 70 years. I'm a student of the game. You talk, I'll listen. And why? Why would I want to? Yeah, don't shoot myself in the foot here. Like, hello, that's a multi-time championship and kind of guy. Like, and Antron's a great motivator. I love motivational stuff. So I always get excited, when he gets in there, starts talking. He's got that fire in his eye. So there's always something to learn from everyone, even no matter where you go.
Right. Indeed. I was thinking about this in-season championship. I personally thought it's something that is needed. NFL and all these other sports have
NBA,
their division winners. You know what I mean? Their conference winners. And then I think this right here, it stops the mid-season. Well, I've got enough points. There's no way I can be bumped out of the top 10. I look like I won't be bumped out of the top 5. So we're just going to start changing some things and testing some stuff ahead of the countdown here. It makes this whole thing 100% go. That it's not saying guys aren't trying, but I mean, this, I call it this is the antidote to the so-called the NBA's style of taking rest days and guys having this load management. Takes that load management out of the game now, and it makes every race, at least it's going to be great for the fans, because there aren't any guys that are going to be laying over or trying things in the middle of the season when they know that there's going to be this championship and the amount of money that's going to be on the line.
Yeah, and there two sides of that coin, for sure. Like, we go to every race trying to win because there's money there. Like,
right.
I'm pretty sure that Antron's not going to come over and buy my lunch because we were trying stuff and we did in the race and he did.
Right.
I would love for him to. That'd be fantastic, but I wouldn't expect him to. So, and Tony Schumacher didn't come over and buy my dinners in all those championship runs that he did, little punk, when he was doing his thing. So, I mean, it still comes down to, hey, we're here to win. We're here to make money because that's what, feeds my daughter's tuition someday, and stuff like that. So we want to win. We love that. That's what we're here for. The trying new things, I would say there is still merit to people doing that. They need to do that. When Jimmy Prock and Medlin and Cunningham on that Infinite Hero car tried stuff on that Western swing, that changed the landscape of drag racing funny cars. Yeah. Unbelievable. And we were all just trying to catch up because they went out there and like, all right, we're in a good spot. They had a list of ideas. Let's try this, and this, and see what happens. And then they're like, whoa, what is this? And it was like, we don't know if it's the laid back headers or this or that that's doing it. And I mean, these funny car ETs that you're seeing now, that is a direct example of that. Hey, we're in a good spot. We're going to try some stuff.
Right.
And it works. Sometimes it don't, but oh my gosh. Whew, right. That worked.
I'll say this, Drag Race Mayhem. I don't think it's a cover up. I think that is still a problem. You're not going to cover up having losers be a part of the countdown. I'm never going to be a fan of that. Participation trophy has to go, and it kills the potential, the drama that coming down to the U.S. Nationals, there are 3 or 4 ladies or gentlemen that are going to fight their way to that 10th spot if they have to. And it takes away from that. And I'm sorry when 11 through 13 or whoever you're adding in there, whether it's 14, I don't care how many drivers you have, when their round win-loss record don't even add up to the 10th place person, that says a lot. And like I said, I don't think sponsors give a darn about a participation trophy when you got a losing record and you're saying you're a part of a playoff. No, I I do think it needs to go, but I do not believe it is a cover up. It's something they just choose not to let go.
I would say like Johnny Gray. I don't even remember what year it was. I'm too old. It was the first year of the Johnny Gray car. We went into Indy. We were 11th, trying to get into 10th, and made some changes. And if we would have got into 10th, we would have won the championship, but we didn't get in. So we would have basically been one round, if you did all the stuff, one round out of a championship, because we just absolutely tore it up. And that was kind of cool. That was Winland's first year as a crew chief too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does it sting? Yes. Does it still kind of go? I don't know. I don't know what exactly the answer kind of is. There's probably still merit. I mean, man, there's a lot of close championships on a full season without the countdown. So there's no right or wrong answer here. It's still a bunch of teams going out there and giving it their absolute best and racing as hard as they possibly can. And I will say that the playoffs kind of do help that. Hey, let's try a couple things so that we're good for the playoffs. In-season stuff makes it exciting so you can get into that either way. So, I mean, the answer is go out and win every race.
Yeah.
It's still the same goal, whether you're in 20th, and God bless the old man. I used to be Connie. I used to be a horrible points counter guy, and it used to like keep me up at night. Like, well, if we do this, that'll happen, blah, 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 blah. And when we were trying to get Dixon back in the day, and he kind of made it really simple, stupid. It's like, hey, if you're in 20th, do you go out and try to win the next race, or do you count points? Fair. Yeah. It's like, try to win the race. It'll take care of itself. Stop stressing about it. Fair enough. He's pretty smart. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Like,
how exciting was it?
Get your life together.
How exciting was it during those laid back header days? I know, as Sean was saying, it got a little sketchy out there for the cars dancing around and wheel standing, mid-track.
Oh, the funny car stuff?
Yes.
Oh, stupid. You had a jet car. Like, that's what it was. And it's like, so when it was cool because Terry Chandler, if you want to say that, kind of swept the swing that year because Beckman won the first two and we won the last one. And I'm telling you, like, we didn't get on the laid back headers until after the swing. So like they were just absolutely annihilating everyone. And we got to the final and it's just like, JC was like, well, I'm just going to throw everything at it, see if it goes. Cause like, you have nothing to lose. Like,
right.
What are you going to do? You're fighting a jet car, like an F-16 taking off over here. Like, and we're in a biplane. Like,
yeah.
And so, it was good to the point to where it forced us to get way out of our comfort zone. And then when we put the laid back headers on, it was like, oh, we're already at this point, and now the laid back headers are helping us more. So like it pushed us to get way out of what we would normally do. Like that is way out of that. And it paid dividends because I don't know if it's that year or the next year, we got pretty close to winning a couple of championships off that. There was a couple tracks, and we always talk about primary, and I remember Dallas, and God love JC. JC's very subtle. Like he doesn't like change, and track temps doing all this stuff. And I don't care what that track temp does. I'm not taking primary off this thing. And I'm like, okay. So I took my book and shut it, put it in my pocket. I'm like, so, well, I mean, when cars, and I remember that was the same way when Tony Schumacher and Alan Johnson were doing their thing. It's like, man, these fools are running these numbers. It's like, it pushes you. You don't even have a comfort zone that like data of like, hey, we have this run book and this is no, you're just hey, we're going to throw the kitchen sink out. If it goes, then maybe we're on to something. If not, well, we tried our best.
Right.
To me, that's a stressful kind of racing. I'm not good at that. That's not my thing.
No.
God bless Windland. Windland can do that stuff. Like the whole taking the mud flaps off and this and that. I'm like, oh, so, we're trying to fit these mud flaps and I've got a unibit out there and I'm driving holes in this dude. And like, this is some funny car stuff. And he goes, oh, basically, you're qualified. Go take care of it. I'm like, oh. So I'm out there drilling holes and mounting this thing and putting tape on it. And me and Changes don't get along so well. I grew around Tobler too much, I think, which he would appreciate. But there is definitely time for change and all that stuff.
Dave W. says, what do you think the Proc Brain Trust is doing now to come up with these consistently good numbers? Not only are they quick, but they hardly ever lose a run.
I don't know. That's why I went to Top Fuel.
Like, yes, saw that coming.
Best of luck, sucker. Golly. Yeah, they had an in-car camera. I forget where I saw that. And Austin's in the car. And they're doing an in-car camera with this dude driving. And it's just like, I think it ran a low 80 or mid 80 in conditions where normal people in this right mind were running like mid 90s, just something like straight up, like to the face of everyone in the competition. And like, he's driving it and he's not even moving the steering wheel hardly. And I'm just like, that's wild. A problem. That's a problem for y'all. Like as a recovering funny car guy that just got their butt kicked from them, it's like you guys got to do something about that. Like,
yeah,
that's a insane problem. That is absolutely insane. We're talking a guy that's cutting 50, 60 lights, driving the car and barely moving the steering wheel, running low 80s. Problem. Good big luck. Problem. Big problem.
Isn't it crazy though that both of those cars run almost identical, and they came out at the shootout running the same stuff, like identical? It doesn't make sense. That's not supposed to happen.
Oh, I looked at Jake Green, who does our track stuff. So Jake Green, we use him for all the track data in between rounds and all that. And how good's the track? What's the temperature? All this stuff. So like, he watches every run like a hawk. And I looked down and said, man, these funny car guys, they got a long season ahead of him, because that is an issue. That is a major issue. Maybe the saving grace is when it gets warm. Maybe they try something and it kind of puts them off their beaten path, but they got such a good program at this point in their lives that if they get off the beaten path a little bit, I think they go, oh, that's enough of that, and come back right to where they are. That's a problem. That's Alan Johnson, Tony Schumacher problems. Like, you're just hanging on. That's a bull. You're just trying to hang on. That's a helpless feeling.
That really is. That really is. And the competition in both classes is just absolutely insanely good.
Yeah.
I know, we hear people our age talk about like the good old days and stuff, but when you go back and actually analyze
this is it.
Yeah. When you analyze it and look at the cars
Not
back then,
close.
there was a handful. There was a handful of cars that were good at the end of the day. And today, 1 through 16 will send you home if you think you're going to come out there and think, I got 16 in round one. You're out.
We used to be able to go, hey, you just got to go A to B and now get us in the semifinals for years. Like, that's anybody says a good old day, like, unless when there were 60 cars and maybe 16 would qualify and half of them, had issues, and a car count isn't necessarily a health indicator of the sport.
I agree.
Because you could have 60 cars in there, only 8 of them make it down the track, or, whatever.
Right.
We got 18, 16 cars or whatever showing up that any one of them can win the race. Like, it's a slugfest. It's kind of funny. I was watching that Bracket Bonanza commercial before it started, and it said, it's like, oh, you can hit the randomizer. And I'm like, hey, that might be the best way to do it, because they're so good that you can overanalyze this really quick, and just maybe sometimes it's better just go, whoop. Yep, that's it.
I'm the
Like,
guy who overanalyzes because that's just in my nature. I read
Yeah.
and analyze everything. I study everything.
Right.
I'm too much of a tape watcher, and
Yeah.
it did not work
Any
out
given
well last year.
round, it can change. I can't tell you how many times last year it was like, hey, we're going to run a 74. I feel like that's, great example. It was Charlotte. I think it was one of those 4 wides. I think it was Charlotte. And I think we ran a mid to low 70. And I was like, when we were talking, it was like, yeah, that smart run. That's about where we need to be. And Jasmine Salinas, if she didn't just like smack us everyone with a 71 out of nowhere, and it's just like, what do? You go, oh, I wish I would have ran better, but dang, that hurt. Okay, good for you, because there's nothing you can do. You just got slapped in the face. Like, just walk off, pack your stuff up, you go to the next one.
Yeah.
It's insane. And it's rough. It's rough. There's a bunch of snipers out there you don't see coming. Get your butt.
Yeah, all the time.
Hired assassins.
Right. Blake asked if there's one race you would like to win, what would it be?
Indy. Indy, because my family would be there. I've never been able to win with my family there. That would be super special. They're so busy, they don't get to go to a lot of the races. So,
right.
I'd probably climb the fence and immediately run to the family. That would be huge. That'd be a full circle moment for me. If it wasn't that, I would say Dallas, because I want a cowboy hat for free, and I want to ride that bull. That Oscar dude.
That is a cool event, man. That's
crazy. They put on a great event, but Indy for sure. Because I know where my wife and the kids they sit in the stands, and Indy's the only place that, like, after every run, I can look up there and blow a kiss, and they'll blow a kiss back, and it's just one of those moments. Indy would be special on big level for me.
Last one here for you here. Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, sponsor of this show. How much of an influence have you seen being, down there where the fans are during round after round? Do you hear people talking about it? Do people talk to you about it? Are you guys as a team talking about it? What's been the influence you've noticed?
Yeah, let me tell you about this stuff. Okay, this is what happens. So back in the day, they're in Atlanta, Georgia, and I remember this perfectly. If you lost, there'd be about 20 people come over and be like, "Hey, man, you cost me a lot of money. I was betting on you." I'm like security, and they were big dudes. Well, now with this bracket bonanza, it's all coming back to me. It left for a little while, and now it's all coming back. And to where they're like, "Hey, I picked you on my bonanza," and I'm like, "Hey, I am very sorry. What can I get for you?" like I lost, we lost. I feel shame, and now these people are coming to the ropes and saying, "Yeah, you suck. Like, you did this to me." Yeah, they're laughing. It's
fantastic.
Hurtful. No, it's not. It's horrible. So not only are you mad because you lost, now you're getting guilt.
Oh, yeah, they're rubbing it in.
And rightfully so. Hey, listen, it makes it fun for them, bad for me. We haven't won our NHRA race yet. Look forward to it. And I look forward to that same energy coming back on the other side of things, because the other side sucks, man. They're brutal.
Yeah, it can be brutal. It's kind of gotten to fantasy football levels now. With this Drag Race Bracket.
Yeah, I feel horrible. I need to get some I'm sorry condolence cards that I can just kind of hand out. Like, we got heroes, when we lose, we're like, "I'm sorry," or heaven forbid, it's my fault, or whatever, or maybe I'll just blame someone else. Be like, "Hey, it was Tuna's fault."
It was on him.
It was on.
Do you think that Pomona should be the first race of the season?
Honestly, I really don't. Wherever they tell us to go and where they tell me to go, I'll be happy to go. It's going to be warmer than the 7 degrees that I'm looking outside this shop right now. So Pomona was the first race for so long for me that it's kind of ingrained in me.
Yeah.
But if it makes sense, ultimately what it really comes down to me, if it makes sense for the fans and the show and logistics, I'm in, because we kind of we kind of teeter with a budget still, and gas prices and all. I hate to talk about that, but it's like, we're budgeting off gas prices, and it's $8,000 to get our trucks down to Bradenton and all that stuff, and the hotel logistically and all these things. If it makes sense to go to Gainesville, if it made sense to go to Phoenix, if it made sense to go anywhere logistically and all that stuff, I'm in. I'm not a hey, we gotta drag race at a quarter mile to make this sport great. I see the benefits of 1,000, and I lost a great friend because it wasn't 1,000, or wasn't a quarter or whatever. So it's like, what we can't get stuck in the past. We got to evolve, and things change. Like, we got to keep pushing forward and going that route. And if the fan count was better, shoot, when was that when we raced in Pomona? It was like almost, it felt like mid-season. I remember the track temp was like 150 degrees.
Yeah,
whatever that was, I don't want to do that again.
No,
count me out.
No, that was bad. That was bad.
That was horrible. My shoes were melting. I had to get new socks. They were melting out of my shoes. It was horrible.
Dang. Yeah, that's bad.
I lost the soles of my shoe. You would come back in the trailer and you could hear it sticking to the inside of the trailer off my shoes.
Yeah, that's too hot.
That's too hot. Yeah, I'm not built for that. I got like a 60 to 80 window in my life that I'm good, but that was bad. So bad.
That's rough. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on the show. Let everybody know where they can follow you guys at and keep up with you guys all season.
Yeah, Sean Reed Racing. Check it out on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on TikTok, Ryan R. Elliott, NHRA.com. You kind of catch up with all that stuff. It's just follow along. Unless you're a bracket bonanza and I lost you money, then you can look at someone else, please. That's rough. I feel bad enough. It's already sad. Why beat a man while he's down? I've had enough.
Yeah. You've had enough when you've lost like that. Yeah.
It's definitely still not as bad as Atlanta. Those fools had some money going.
Yeah. Oh man, it was bad. It was big money going around.
Atlanta used to throw some cash around. It's like you can see them in the stands. You're like, oh God, we lost. We got to pack up and get out of here right now. Don't even pack up. Just go. It's bad. Just go. All bad. Just go.
Oh man, amazing, man. I look forward to seeing you guys in Gainesville. I will be stopping by as I always do and chatting it up. And keep doing what you guys are doing. I'm looking forward to seeing what transpires here this season.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
All right, buddy. Until next time.
Man. See you, buddy.
Later. Ryan Elliott, everybody. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. A lot of cool stuff. I knew it would be cool because he's just a cool guy. And that's just, it's what it is. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you have good people on. I'm looking forward to this NHRA season. It's going to be an absolute blast. And, I think we're going to see yet again some great racing. The competition just keeps getting better. You keep having more and more knowledgeable people behind the car, the offensive line, as we like to call them, the people who are making and calling the shots, the coordinators, the crew chiefs. And it's just going to keep getting better. And I think the incentives, you see the NHRA moving in the right direction. As we always say, it's not always in the fashion and as quick as we'd like it to be, but they are listening. That's why these changes are happening. And the growth is going to be great for the sport. And it's going to be fun with this in-season championship. I'm looking forward to it. To everyone who tuned in tonight, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Would not be doing this without you guys. Without you guys, we are nothing. So you are absolutely appreciated. And thank you to those who watched on X. You guys are proving that we needed to go back there, and the numbers are showing that as well. Super excited to be back on X. Again, tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you're subscribed to the show. Even if you're a lurker in the background and you do not comment, make sure you subscribe to the show. Every subscription helps us, especially when it comes down to money. So, getting sponsorships. Again, this has been the NotBland Show. I've been your host, Dujane Bland, product, and this has been a product of sportsjourney.com. And we thank Everything Nitro and our sponsor, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Make sure you guys get in the game. We're going to have some special stuff for you guys this year, hopefully some prizes. So let's do it. All right. Until next Tuesday, good night, everybody.